Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's clear and cool in San Diego tonight. Microphones are on. We're set to go. The D-backs and the Padres in the second of a three-game series. Last night, the Diamondbacks tied a season high with 11 runs to even their record on this road trip to 4-4 with 2 more to go here at Petco Park. We're set for Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. And welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. It's the Diamondbacks and the Padres. Former D-back Yoeli Chacin gets the baseball for San Diego tonight. It's Zach Greinke for the Diamondbacks. Zach has always pitched well in this ballpark, but Bob, tonight he's just trying to match the pace of his other rotation mates during this winning streak. They're our State Farm winning combo.
Well, you go back to Game 3 of that Dodger series. Taijuan Walker gave up only 1 earned run, was outstanding in that game. Then following day, Robbie Ray struck out 10, gave up 2 runs. He was outstanding. And last night, I don't know how you could do more than Shelby Miller did. So the bar's been set pretty high for Zach Greinke here against the Padres tonight.
Well, the bar has been very high for Diamondback radio play-by-play since the first day. Tonight, our colleague and our friend Greg Schulte will call his 3,000th Diamondback game on D-backs radio.
And we're all blessed to know Greg Schulte. It's one thing to be a radio guy. It's another thing to be the voice of a team. Generations of D-backs fans have grown up listening to Greg Schulte, and hopefully he'll have a great 3,000th here in San Diego tonight.
Well, you and I will take a half inning off, and we'll pick up the Governors call in the bottom of the third inning here. The Diamondbacks and the Padres as Greg Schulte calls his 3,000th Diamondback game. We are set for the opening pitch from San Diego. That's coming up on Fox Sports Arizona.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casinos, Lone Butte, Bequiva, and Wild Horse Pass. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. Location statewide. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Welcome to the gig life. And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
We're in San Diego. Brandon Drury and the D-backs ready to go against the San Diego Padres. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. San Diego, the Diamondbacks, winners of 3 straight games, off to a 10-5 start for the first time in 15 years, and a chance tonight to continue steering this road trip back in the right direction. D-backs were 1-4 halfway through this trip, but a win tonight would up the road record to 5-4 with one more to play here tomorrow night. As for tonight, up against the Padres, Yoeli Chacin, your lineup for Torey Lovullo's D-backs.
A.J. Pollock will be leading it off out in center field. David Peralta in right. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Jake Lamb down at third. Brandon Drury at second base. Chris Herman getting a start in left field tonight. Get another left-handed bat in the lineup. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Jeff Mathis doing the catching. And right-hander Zach Greinke on the mound.
Well, Bob, before we get going, it's time as always for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Keep the pedal to the metal. We talked about it in the open. The last 3 go rounds for the starters have been really, really good. Just keep going in the right direction.
Yeah, D-backs 11-2 winners in the series opener last night. 11 runs, tied their season high, set on April 8th when they beat Cleveland 11-2. And they're up against a former teammate tonight. Your Ram truck starter for the Padres is the right-hander Yoeli Chacin. This year, the Padres' opening day starter. 1 win in 3 starts, a 7.80 ERA. He's coming off a loss in Atlanta last Friday.
Throw a couple of different fastballs, a 4-seamer and then a 2-seam sinker. Mixes in an occasional curveball. Throws a slider quite often. Has a changeup, but doesn't use it a whole lot. He's been banged around a little bit this year. He's got 1 good outing sandwiched between 2 really bad ones. Lost to the Dodgers his first time out, a loss to the Braves his last time out. In those 2 losses, 8 1/3 innings pitched, 16 hits, 13 runs, and 8 walks against Chacin.
Signed by San Diego in December after he split last season between the Braves and the Angels. Let's take a look at the defense around him. Our eye on the Padre defense, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Alan Cordoba moves over to left field tonight. He's a very versatile player. Will be all over the field this year for the Padres. Travis Jankowski moves over to center field tonight with big Hunter Renfroe in right field. Be Ryan Schimpf and Eric Abar, the emergency pitcher royale on the left side of the infield. Jan Hervey, Solarte, and Will Myers on the right side, with Austin Hedges behind the plate for Jhoulys Chacín.
Yeah, Padres in the game last night had a catcher and a shortstop on the mound pitching. Tony Randazzo has the balls and strikes tonight. He's our plate umpire. The crew chief, Jerry Davis, is at first base. Pat Hoberg at second, and Rob Drake at third. Diamondbacks just 4-6 here at Petco Park last season. But with this Padre ball club in the middle of a rebuild and struggling, hopefully they'll be able to make a big improvement on that record here in this ballpark this season, as we play the second of a 3-game series before we finally head back home to welcome in the Dodgers starting on Friday.
If there's one thing you'd like to see the Diamondbacks get a little better at offensively, it's getting started earlier in the ball game. 10 up, 10 down against Jared Cozart in the ball game last night. An injured Jared Cozart at that.
Yeah, went very quietly up until the 4th inning. AJ, 267 and a home run, leads it off. Pollock had 2 more hits last night. He was on base 3 times with a pair of singles. That's after his 4-hit game on Monday in the win at Dodger Stadium. Padres are really reeling right now. They're off to a 5-10 start. They've lost 5 in a row. And last night's game got out of hand for Andy Green and company. AJ ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike. Might be a long year for that man.
Yeah, I think you probably hear that same phrase repeated many times this season.
Yeah. They lost their football team, and now the Padres are in the middle of a rebuild. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. But they have some very exciting young players, and it's going to be a growing process this year.
Well, it was just a couple of years ago. I was going to say it seems like it was just a couple of years ago, but it was. They were all in. They spent a ton of money in the offseason. Brought in Matt Kemp and
James Shields and Melvin Upton Jr.
Kind of caught the entire baseball world by surprise that the Padres were that active and that willing to spend the money, but a couple short years later they're in a rebuilding program.
AJ takes the fastball, and he's worked the count full 3-2 to lead it off.
Yeah, you can see from the velocity, Chacín is not going to blow anybody away here tonight. Sinking fastball in the high 80s, will touch 90. Occasionally that 4-seamer will creep up into the 90s, but not really a big fastball at this stage of his career.
Well, Chacín is capable of putting together a very good start. He was roughed up at Dodger Stadium opening day, gave up 9 earned runs, but he had a nice bounce back here at Petco Park his next time out. 6 2/3 scoreless innings against the Giants, and in that ball game he gave up only 3 hits. But then a loss in Atlanta last Friday. An 8-pitch at bat for AJ Pollock, and he works the leadoff walk. Chacín walked 4 in that start at SunTrust Park last week. David Peralta, 255 and 2 home runs. David had a pair of singles and a base on balls last night. He scored a run. AJ had a stolen base in the ball game last night, his 2nd of the year. Padres have the shift on, and there's ball 1. Ibar, the shortstop, will stay on the left-hand side, as Schimpf, who played second base last year, stands in the second base spot. He's the third baseman. Solarte slides over.
This is kind of an unusual sight. We're used to seeing Paul Goldschmidt try to creep up as close to home plate with his foot anchored against the side wall. He's actually standing right in front of the dugout steps right now.
Yeah, you're right. He's way down there.
That is odd looking.
Flare the other way. Cordoba has the first out. So here is Goldie. 255, 2 home runs. He walked 3 times in last night's ball game, drawing 3 bases on balls for the 2nd consecutive game.
And we touched on it after the game last night. Guys are going to have to pick it up. Goldie, we've seen this happen several times throughout his career. The team's just refusing to give him anything to hit. They're going to put it on the guys behind him in the Diamondbacks order to do the damage. And we know Goldie's going to take his walks. If you don't throw him strikes, he's more than willing to go on down to first base and set it up for his teammates. Very important that those teammates behind him continue to swing hot bats.
Goldie has walked more than any player in baseball this season, except the Padres' third baseman Ryan Schimpf. They are 1 and 2 in the major leagues in walks. Here's Schimpf playing third base. He had a base on balls last night.
Not really fair. Goldie's got a much bigger strike zone than Ryan Schimpf.
Goldie led the league in walks last year. Yoeli Chacin, the one-time Diamondback. Along with Jared Weaver, Clayton Richard, they sort of pieced together a veteran pitching staff. They have some injuries. Schimpf's at third. No chance to get Pollock, so he goes to first to get Goldie. AJ in scoring position now. 2 down for Jake Lamb.
Two of Goldie's outs in the ball game last night were rollover grounders to third base. That's a trend we'd like to see stopped.
Well, you mentioned the players hitting behind Goldie. Here's Jake Lamb, 308 and 3 homers, 14 RBIs in 14 games. And Jake, for the most part, has been that bat behind Paul Goldschmidt. 14 RBIs, second in the National League behind only Miami's Marcell Ozuna. AJ at second and 2 outs. Jake drove in a pair of runs last night, a single and a sacrifice fly.
Well, we saw this alignment in the ball game last night with Hunter Renfroe way over in the gap in right center. Jankowski shading over into the gap in left center. If Jake could hook one down into that corner, he could run all night. It was Jeremy Hazelbaker in the ball game last night that hooked one down into that right field corner. A pinch hit appearance in the he pinch hit in the 8th, stayed in the game, had another at bat in the 9th. That's when he hit his 2 RBI triple down into the right field corner.
Diamondbacks have scored only 1 first-inning run on this road trip. That was in San Francisco last week. There's a strike. 2-2. Brandon Drury on deck.
Oh, he wanted that one.
Sure did. Full count, 3-2.
Had a lot of movement on that sinker. That front door sinker starts it inside off the plate, tries to tail it back to the inside corner, and Chacin thought he got it back to the corner, but not quite.
Tony Randazzo behind the plate. Saw Jake a couple of times last night strike out on breaking balls inside. He got tied up a couple of times. Don't know if the Padres noted that or not. 20th pitch of this first inning on the way from Yolis Chacin. Bounce to first. That's a fair ball for Will Myers. And Chacin strands the leadoff walk. We're in San Diego. Zach Greinke coming up. Padres coming up in the home half of the first against your Ram truck starting pitcher for the D-backs, the right-hander Zach Greinke. 1 win in 3 starts this year, coming off a disappointing outing at Dodger Stadium last Friday when he allowed 5 runs on 10 hits in 5 innings.
Yeah, that highly anticipated matchup between his former teammate left-hander Clayton Kershaw was all one-sided. Zach Greinke really struggled against his former team, and Kershaw was on top of his game.
The speedy Travis Jankowski, the center fielder tonight, leads it off for the Padres, and there's strike 1. Jankowski hitting .158. A pair of hits last night. He singled, doubled, and scored a run. His first extra base hit this year. Jankowski last night played left field and batted 8th. He's playing center field and leading off tonight. No Manuel Margot. The rookie has the night off. Greinke ahead 0-2. Fastball away, missed 1-2.
An early curveball, that second pitch to Jankowski. That's something usually Zach kind of keeps in his back pocket for the second, third time through the order, but shows it early here tonight.
Jeff Mathis behind the plate. Alan Cordoba, the left fielder, is in the on-deck circle, the Rule 5 pick. Called strike 3. Take a look at the lineup. Randy Green, San Diego Padres.
Jankowski making that long walk back to the dugout. He's in center field tonight. Cordoba making his way to the plate. He'll be in left field. Will Myers down at first. And Hervey Solarte at second base with Ryan Schimpf at third. Hunter Renfroe in right field. Austin Hedges, a former Sun Devil, behind the plate. Eric Ibar at shortstop, and Yolis Chacin on the mound.
21-year-old Alan Cordoba, 6 hits in 13 at-bats to begin his major league career. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Zach Greinke has always pitched well in this ballpark. He's 8-1 in 16 career starts against the Padres overall, but he's been really good at Petco Park. Ahead of Cordoba 0-2. 10 starts in this ballpark. Greinke 4-1 with a 1.90. And he has allowed 2 runs or fewer every time.
That'll work.
Fastball inside, missed. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Young Alan Cordoba stands about as close to the plate as any right-handed hitter we've seen this year. That back foot, his right foot, is actually on that inside line. He backed off about an inch now. He was on the line on the previous pitch.
Well, Zach Greinke opens up with a pair of strikeouts. Let's take a look at the D-backs defensively, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
When in doubt, put a catcher on the field. A.J. Pollock will keep a close eye on Chris Herman, who flanks him in left field tonight. David Peralta in his customary right field position. Lamb and Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Drury and Goldschmidt on the right side, with Jeff Mathis doing the catching tonight for Zach Greinke.
The red-hot Will Myers leading the major leagues in hits. He's batting .361 with 3 home runs. Myers drove in the game's first run last night with an RBI single. That extended his hitting streak to 9 games. But he has never had much luck with Zach Greinke.
3 for 23 lifetime. That's a 130 batting average, 6 strikeouts in 23 at bats.
Hits this one high in the air, drifting over to right center field as A.J. Pollock. It's carrying on him. Peralta's there now, and David's got it. They'll sort that out later. A scoreless first for Greinke in San Diego.
No score as we head to the top half of the second inning. The D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-a-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Well, Brandon Drury trying to get his bat going on this road trip. He'll lead off the D-back second against Yoeli Chacin. Peralta and Pollock still debating about who had that fly ball. It's a land of confusion, in the words of Phil Collins. There's strike one.
At one point, AJ was palms up, which is a universal sign for I don't see it. A real gray sky right now with the clouds rolling through. And I think David Peralta saw that, so he did what he thought he needed to do, get over there and make the play. My center fielder can't see it.
And it was drifting over toward right field. Got up in that wind a little bit. It's a very cool night here in San Diego. A little breeze blowing across the outfield from left to right. There's the cloud cover. That's the sky they're looking up into right now. 1-2 on Brandon Drury. Austin Hedges, the catcher. Brandon able to check his swing, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. He didn't go, says Jerry Davis. Brandon do a bases loaded walk in the 4th inning last night, but he's trying to dig his way out of a 3 for 29 right now. It's been a quiet road trip.
I took the bases loaded walk as a good sign for Brandon last night. I mean, when a guy is in a little bit of an offensive funk and you get up there with runners in scoring position, that's usually when you really get away from your fundamentals to try to drive those runners in. But he was willing to take the base on balls and take the RBI that way.
I think he did that, Bob, in a couple of at-bats in the Dodgers series where he was up there first and second, bases loaded.
The dreaded trying to do too much.
Stay within yourself. Well, that'll get him going. Drops it into left field, a leadoff single.
It sounded like he might have been jammed a little bit right there, but strong enough to muscle it out into shallow left field for a leadoff base hit. Yeah, you never know which one's going to get you jump started. Sometimes it's a jam shot that drops in front of an outfielder. Sometimes it's a ground ball that rolls through the infield. Sometimes it's a 500-foot home run. Hopefully that little floater will get Brandon started.
Padres will put on the shift for Chris Herman, who's starting in left field tonight. Yes, he went. Rob Drake at third, 0-1. Chris 3 for 17 this year. Torey Lovullo saying before the game today that Chris has been versatile for the D-backs all year long. So they're utilizing that, getting him a start in left field tonight. No Yasmani Tomas. And Torey was asked a lot about splits, right versus left. Is this an opportunity just to get another left-hand bat in there against Chacin? And he said no, nothing to do with that. Not why Yasmani isn't playing. It's more about just getting Herman some ABs. And he's ahead 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. Sometimes it's just the style of pitcher that you're facing. We know Chacin is best out pitch is that hard slider low and away, and we know that's a pitch that gives Yasmani a lot of problems. So putting another left-handed bat in that particular spot kind of takes away his out pitch.
Tomas had a big night last night. A single and a 3-run homer. Checks his swing, but looks at strike 3. First strikeout for Yolis Chacin.
Chris Herman a little overly aggressive at the beginning of the bat and a little too passive at the end. Took a very hittable 91-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside part of the plate that time for strike 3.
So no Yasmani Tomas in the starting lineup. Chris Owings also getting a night off. Here's Nick Ahmed, the shortstop. 316 with a home run for Nick.
We haven't seen Torey Lovullo push a lot of buttons as far as bunts or hitting and running, and some of the guys who are capable of stealing bases have the green light over there at first unless they're told not to run. But this would appear to be a pretty good hit and run situation if you chose to do that. Nick handles the bat pretty well. Big hole on the right side. Get Brandon Drury in motion over there. At least stay out of the double play and hope to get down to that pitcher spot here in the 2nd inning.
Torey was a big fan of Chris Owings' bunt attempt in the game last night with the bases loaded in the 4th inning. That led to 2 Diamondback runs. He said no, that was all Chris. He said he had that in his back pocket. They had talked about it about a week or so ago. So Torrey did not call for that bunt. That was a Chris Owings attempt, and Torrey said, look, I'm never going to penalize or criticize one of my players for trying to make a smart baseball play. Brandon Drury takes off. The throw from Hedges is easily in time, and he's thrown out trying to steal. Austin Hedges.
That's usually the result of a broken hit and run. As a runner at first base, you're not trying to steal. You're counting on that hitter to protect you. Got a slider off the plate low and away. Nick couldn't even make contact with it. And Brandon's a dead duck at second base because you just don't get as big a jump as if you're trying to straight steal the base.
Well, Nick did what he could. That loopy breaking ball well away from the right-hand hitter. So they erase Drury. Now a 1-2 count on Ahmed. Up the middle on Hervey Solarte at second base, throws him out. No score in San Diego. The D-backs and the Padres.
No scores. We head to the bottom half of the second inning. While we have a moment here, let's take a look back at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico, the first major league ball game ever played in Hawaii. Now, this is something we need to investigate. The Padres called it, what did they call it? Padres Paradise Series.
Okay.
And the Cardinals went over there and played a 3-game series. Cardinals won the first game in Hawaii, 1-0.
So you're suggesting that maybe the Diamondbacks should somehow be involved?
Yeah.
On Hervey Solarte, another tweener there. This one's in left center. And again, someone takes a baseball away from A.J. Pollock. This time it's Chris Herman. Well, we can get in touch with the league office, maybe arrange something for you in Hawaii.
I'm thinking Honolulu ought to be in the National League West.
3 times a year. What's going on in the outfield here?
Well, you know, Chris Herman, a catcher by trade. He's certainly capable of playing outfield, but you know, sometimes both guys are calling for it at exactly the same time. They don't really hear each other. They hear their own voice. But, you know, protocol says that that's AJ's ball.
Well, Greinke has gotten 4 outs on 12 pitches as Ryan Schimpf steps up at third baseman. 128, but leading the major leagues in walks. He was 0 for 3 with a base on balls last night. The only player in baseball who's walked more this year than Paul Goldschmidt. 1-1. So they played a 3-game set there.
Yeah.
Do you have some people in New York we could call? Maybe get in touch with the Padres?
People in New York I just used to write checks to, so I probably don't have a lot of pull.
Yeah, they're
with
still
them,
expecting
with
those,
the
actually.
office.
Jam shot pop up Only guy over there is Jake Lamb with the shift on, and Jake's got it in foul ground. 5 up, 5 down for Greinke. Well, that's 5 outs on 15 pitches.
You know, you hate to ever take anything for granted. Anybody with a bat in their hands is dangerous. Anybody in the big leagues is here for a reason, but this should be a lineup that Zach Greinke carves up. Get through Will Myers and Jan Hervey Solarte and Ryan Schimpf, and then take your chances with all these young Padres hitters that have been real aggressive in the first game.
2 outs on 4 pitches in this inning. Here's the rookie Hunter Renfroe. 254 and 3 homers for the powerful Renfroe, who had a couple of singles last night. Renfroe's a pretty aggressive hitter, especially for a young guy. He does not like to fall behind in counts. And so he's usually up there trying to ambush a fastball. Two balls and 1 strike.
And just watching the signs that Jeff Mathis is giving and where he's setting up, Zach is right around his intended target with every pitch so far.
Well, Torey Lovello, after the loss at Dodger Stadium last Friday for Zach, thought that it was really a case of Greinke just mislocating his pitches, his fastball command likely not as good as it had been. Certainly in his previous start when he beat the Indians and was terrific. 1 run on 5 hits and 6 2/3 against Cleveland. Renfroe reaches down and lifts it for center field. Now AJ can take this one. There you go. 6 outs on 20 pitches for Zach Greinke. No score in San Diego.
A couple of fans who have traveled a very long way. Robert and Diane Heathershaw are here in the house. They were also in Los Angeles checking out their Diamondbacks. And guys, they were down in Tucson a number of years ago, drove up to catch a game in Phoenix at Chase Field, and they were hooked. So they became huge D-backs fans. They went to the series in Australia, of course. And guess what, guys? They're going to come back to the States and go to some games at Chase Field later this summer.
Well, we're a lot of Diamondback fans in Australia now, Jody, after our trip there a couple of years ago.
Did you give them a heads up about the temperature in the middle of summer in Arizona?
Well, it's like the Outback. Jeff Mathis flies out to center to start the 3rd.
Yeah, you know, that's funny. You play games in Mexico or Australia, or wherever, to open the season, and the idea is you spread your word, you spread your brand to a different country, and I think it really worked.
Think globally, act locally. Zach Greinke now.
There's always a lot of Diamondbacks fans here in San Diego when we come to town. Even a midweek series like this, I saw a lot of D-backs fans.
Greinke drives one to center. Jankowski one more time. 2 outs. 4 in a row set down by Jhoulys Chacín. That'll bring up A.J. Pollock, who led off the ball game with a walk. Two outs on 3 pitches so far. Very efficient third inning for Jhoulys Chacín. Diamondbacks 10-5 at the start of play today, tied with the Rockies atop the NL West. Colorado back at Dodger Stadium tonight, and they lead LA 1-0 in the early going. Don't forget, fans, when we come back for the bottom of the third, Bob and I, well, Bob can go get a pizza as A.J. Pollock rolls that one into left center field. The Governor, Greg Schulte, calling his 3,000th Diamondback game on D-backs radio, will pick up his call for the bottom of the third here in San Diego to honor the Governor on game 3,000. There he is with Tom Candiotti, Arizona Sports 98.7 FM.
I was talking to the Governor before the game, and he said he missed one game in 1998 when his son graduated from high school, and then, to the best of his recollection, he didn't miss another game for 5 years.
He has got every scorebook from every year back at the house. So they're all numbered. You can keep track. Well, it's a big day for him. Everybody was congratulating him. I went over there and told him how much he's meant to me since I've been here. He's been enormously gracious and a huge help in helping me get acclimated. There's so many little things, where to go, what time do I need to be there, you know, what do I need to bring, that kind of stuff. And he's just been wonderful.
Yeah, like I said in the open, it's one thing to be a radio announcer or a TV announcer, but when you're there as long as the Governor has been there, you're an institution. You become more than just a radio guy.
Since the first day. Peralta hits it hard, but right into the shift. That's Ryan Schimpf, the third baseman, who throws him out. When we come back, Greg Schulte calls his 3,000th Diamondback game.
San Diego, Greg Schulte along with Tom Candiotti on the radio side, and actually a little bit of a simulcast right now as we are I guess television is picking us up our audio, and we're going to call this third inning for you. I got 2 thoughts on that. Greinke's first pitch is a strike here to the leadoff hitter Austin Hedges. If Greinke has a real quick inning, they might ask us back for more. if Greinke doesn't have a good inning, we'll never
Forget
get to
about
this.
it, right?
Yeah, we'll never get to do this again. Now, Zach has breezed through the front 2 innings of this ball game with 2 strikeouts. The next pitch to Hedges, and that's outside 1-1. And I would like to acknowledge on the TV side a heartfelt thank you for all the kind words today, emails and texts on number 3000. It's a lot of ball games. I'm very proud of the fact that all 3,000 have been with this Diamondbacks club. That ball is fouled down the right field line and out of play. But again, thanks for all the kind words. And the thing I'm looking forward to most is number 3001 tomorrow.
I bet. No, you've done such a great job, and really on behalf of the organization and really all the fans that have been able to tune in to listen to you over the years. Thank you for them.
Well, I appreciate that. The guys in the TV booth do a bang-up job. I've known Bob Brunley for years now. Worked with Bob on the television side, many games over the course of my broadcast career. And Steve Berthiaume and I have become very close friends in Steve's short time here. There's a ground ball hit to the hole. It's short. Ahmed's got it, sets himself, and fires to Goldie for the out. 1 up, 1 down. Greinke now has started this ball game by retiring the first 7 that he's faced.
Well, just as we expected, he's going to come out with a killer game plan against a very inexperienced offense over there. And the first inning, he's working in and out. He's mixing his pitches up. He's at the bottom part of the order right now. And that was his first ground ball of the game, and very nicely got the out.
Eric Ibar, who pitched last night for the first time in his major league career. It was like Little League Baseball last night, a game that was out of hand, and the manager came out and pointed to the shortstop and he said, I want you to pitch. So Ibar gave Betancourt his glove, and Betancourt took second base, and Ibar pitched, and the second baseman went to shortstop. We were flip-flopping all over the place. There's
still room for a guy that throws 70 miles an hour in this game.
That's right. You used to throw 59. Ground ball to Goldie. He's got it. He'll step on the bag, and that's 8 up and 8 down at the start of the night for Zach Greinke.
Nicely done, too. Another ground ball, easy ground ball. 1 to Ahmed, now 1 to Goldie. It's fun when you pitch like that.
You betcha. 2 quick outs here. And here is Chacin. I was asked today, outside of Game 7 of the 2000 World Series, which I know is Bob Brenly's favorite moment, mine too, the Gonzo hit, but some other ball games that we've had over the years, it brings back memories. And you and I were together, and there's ball 1 low and outside for that comeback thriller at Chase Field in the 10th inning against the Dodgers back in 2011, where the Dodgers had scored 5 in the top of the 10th inning. We said, well, you stick around, you never know what's going to happen. And the pitcher doesn't cover on a 2-out play at first base. That gets a base runner. The next thing you know, the Diamondbacks get a couple of runs, and Ryan Roberts walks them off with a grand slam. One of the greatest comebacks ever.
2 outs. Javi Garrett does not cover first base, and I just remember Joe Torre's face, and one thing after the other started happening, and you could tell he was getting the heebie-jeebies over there.
Chacin, a swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1-2 now from Greinke. Well, Zach has not thrown very many pitches in this ball game either. This next pitch coming up will be his 30th, and it might be his final pitch of this 3rd inning. With a count of 1-2 on the pitcher, Chacin. No score here as we play in the bottom of the 3rd inning at Petco Park in San Diego. The windup and the pitch, and it's just a bit outside.
Oh, you got to ring him up on that. Great little fastball or slider, almost looked like a cut fastball, but kept it right on the outside corner, right where Mathis wanted that ball. To a pitcher, that's a strike.
2-2 count now on Chacin, who bats right-handed. The pitch and a ground ball down to third, but foul. And they'll do it again. New supply of baseballs to the home plate umpire. Greinke trying to win his 2nd of the year. Jankowski's on deck. Zach would just soon face him in the bottom of the 4th inning, have him leading off. Trying to go 9 up, 9 down here at the outset of this ball game. Into the windup and the 2-2 pitch, and it's low. Ball 3-3-2, and Greinke was upset with himself there. So he's running full on the pitcher.
That was kind of a breakdown of mechanics there. It looked like he tried to overthrow that fastball and just spiked it.
Chacin does have 2 hits this year, 2 for 5 and a run batted in. So he's handled the bat okay. He stands right up on the plate too, way up in the top of that batter's box. Payoff pitch is grounded into the hole, and that's a base hit into left field. Well, a 3-2 pitch, and the Padres get their first hit, and it's by the pitcher.
Should have called him out. See, two pitches ago. He was up there looking to get a fastball, 3-2, and just probably swung about as hard as he could swing. Probably had his eyes closed and just happened to find that hole on the left side.
Pitchers do that, close your eyes?
Sometimes. Most of the time, actually.
They'll bring up Jankowski now. Chassin and Goldie talk it over a little bit. Of course, they were teammates a couple of years back when Chassin pitched for the D-backs. Jankowski struck out looking at the bottom of the first inning.
Goldie's probably asked him if he's going to run or not.
Chassin told him no, so Goldie will drop behind him at first base. Greinke out of the stretch, and a breaking ball in there to Jankowski on 1.
He really carved Jankowski up his first at bat. Inside, outside, back and forth, and then, of course, with the curveball like that last pitch.
Diamondbacks playing some really good baseball right now, and that great homestand coming up. Dodgers on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. These Padres in, and then the Rockies. So, a chance to see the D-backs play some ball at Chase Field. Remember, on that first homestand, they went 6-1. They really smacked the baseball all around the yard. So come on out, enjoy some weekend baseball with the Dodgers. It's the only weekend series the Dodgers will be in town all season. Out of the stretch, Greinke on the 1-1 pitch to Jankowski, and a swing and a miss, 1-2 now.
Another excellent curveball. Zach really has shown, a good slider tonight. His fastball, he's spotting very well, but his curveball, the ones that he's thrown, have been excellent.
A 2-out single by Chassin. The Padres' first hit of the night. Diamondbacks have 2 off Chassin. And now a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Travis Jankowski, their center fielder. The pitch to him is swung on and missed. He struck him out. That'll end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We played 3 here at Petco in San Diego. The Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres, no score.
What's become an all too often story is C.B. Bucknor behind the plate. Look at the pitches to Jason Worth. He was called out on strikes. None of them in the strike zone. This was what everybody thought was the last pitch of the ball game. But C.B. called that a foul tip.
Well, it was within 3 feet of the bat.
Yeah, and then grounds crew was ready to come out on the field. Everybody had to go back. And then ultimately strikeout to end the ball game. And Jason Worth was just pointing out to CB, I know you have a very tough job. I think that's what he was saying.
Well, he makes it tough sometimes, that's for sure.
And it just happens every time that man works the plate. Something's got to be done.
Paul Goldschmidt leads off the 4th inning here in San Diego. Our thanks to the Governor Greg Schulte and Tom Candiani from the radio side for picking up a half inning for us.
I feel refreshed.
You should. Read some promos. Goldie Skies one toward the seats and on a play.
Well, it's been said for years that baseball was a sport that's really made for radio. Especially the play-by-play guy on the radio side, because you have to tell the people at home everything that's going on here at the ballpark, because obviously they can't see it. And I have so many great memories growing up as a child, riding around with my mom and dad in the car, listening to Cleveland Indians games, and I'm sure there's a lot of Diamondbacks fans that have the same kind of memories listening to the Governor.
It's one of the sounds of summer, baseball on the radio, that's for sure. 1-2 now.
That was one of the things I used to look forward to when I was working in Chicago for the Cubs. At the end of the season, my wife and I would get in the car and drive back to Arizona listening to the playoff games on the radio. And some days you could get 3 games in a row.
Ryan Schimpf at third.
Well, depending on how the schedule worked out, it would cover our entire day's drive listening to ball games on the radio.
Jake Lamb now. Jake grounded out his first time up.
Of course, Joan was really excited about getting in a car and driving for 10 or 12 hours a day. And listening to ball
listening
games.
to baseball. Because she doesn't get enough of that. Padres have the shift on for Lamb, who takes strike one. See Ibar, the shortstop, near the third base bag. Toes on the grass.
A little surprised he's playing as shallow as he is on that left side of the infield.
Jake hits it hard and through the shift by Solarte in short right field. Third hit for the Diamondbacks, a 1-out single in the fourth.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Well, this was the inning in which the Diamondbacks got it going last night. A 3-run fourth was followed by a 4-run fifth. Brandon Drury singled in his first at bat. Jake Lamb at first, 1 out.
Like Brandon Drury, a little upset with himself for taking that pitch, but I don't really have a problem with him taking that particular strike. That's not a pitch you can do a whole lot with. Sinking fastball out there on the outside corner at the knees. Brandon's just so aggressive. He's ready to hit warm-up pitches. If he's leading off an inning, he'd run up there and swing at the warm-up pitches if they'd let him.
He is very passionate about wanting to succeed as a major leaguer. He wants to dominate. He's not interested in just succeeding. And baseball is on his radar 24/7. Breaking ball buckled him a bit, and it's 1-2. Brandon last year, 282, 16 home runs, hit 31 doubles in his first full big league season last year. It's funny, he thought really he didn't have that good of a year. He says he just got hot a couple of times early in the year and then again late. He had a big September last year.
I think that shows his maturity, that he realizes that those peaks and valleys, he'd like to level those off and be more consistent from start to finish. Always a tough thing for a hitter to do over the course of a long season, but Brandon wants to be that guy that you can count on every day.
Well, you feel pretty good about his chances. Waves at that one and strikes out. Second strikeout for Yolis Chacin. 2 outs in the fourth.
Being as aggressive and driven as he is, the veteran Yolis Chacin took advantage right there. Just a variety of off-speed deliveries after that fastball on the outside corner to start it.
Chris Herman struck out looking at a couple of breaking balls his first time up. Chacin has always had that very good slider when he's been healthy. And Andy Green really has a lot of confidence in that slider against, he says, anybody that's in the batter's box. And Chacin has fought through some injury issues last couple of years. He said this spring his arm is back to normal. He's got the same pitches he's always had, and he's healthy and ready to go. Shift is on for the Herminator, who drives it the other way. Jankowski's there, though. And they strand the one-out single. Bottom four coming up in San Diego. No score. The D-backs and the Padres. San Diego, calling all kids between the ages of 10 and 16. If you'd like to be part of a D-backs telecast, interview a Diamondback player, go behind the scenes and see what it takes to produce a baseball game, and come on out this Sunday to Chase Field for the Fox Sports Arizona and Sanderson Ford Kidcaster auditions from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Sandlot near Baxter's Den during the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers game. Alan Cordoba leads off the fourth against Zach Greinke. Cordoba struck out his first time up. 21-year-old Rule 5 pick by the Padres, who was playing in rookie ball last year in the Appalachian League. Padres carrying a couple of Rule 5 picks this year. Somehow we got a piece of that one. Cordoba singled, scored a run in the ninth inning. Last night he sits safely now in 4 straight games. Andy Green has become a big fan of this young man. Just can't say enough good things about Alan Cordoba. The guy that Greeny said in the very beginning was overwhelmed, and rightfully so, coming from rookie ball. Flails at that one. Mathis will complete the strikeout. That's 4 for Greinke, 1 down in the 4th.
Well, the Diamondbacks fans will remember when Oscar Hernandez was a Rule 5 pick for the D-backs and basically sat around and watched baseball all summer, and those rare opportunities he got, he looked like a deer in the headlights, which is to be expected for a young player. But with more experience up here at this level and seeing major league pitching on a regular basis, Cordoba might develop a lot quicker than they anticipate.
Yeah, there's a skill set there that they really like. Will Myers flying out to end the first, his first time up. The major leagues hits leader A.J. Pollock won't get there. Myers is aboard. He'll settle for a long single. He's now hit safely in 10 straight.
Will Myers so upright in that batter's box, and when you throw him up and out over the plate, I've seen him hit that ball to right center like that I don't know how many times. It's almost automatic. You pitch him up and out over the plate, he's going to drive it to right center field.
He's 26 years old and becoming one of the best hitters in this division, certainly, if not the National League. On Hervé Solarte, 0 for 1. Double play ball here. Brandon Drury, Ahmed for one, and they roll it. 4-6-3 ends the fourth. No score in San Diego. No score. Zach Greinke and Yolis Chacin. Time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Innings 4 through 6. As Torey Lovullo said in Los Angeles, the storm is on its way, and this is the time, these middle innings.
Yeah, they got a knock in that fourth inning by Jake Lamb, but otherwise 3 quick outs. So they're going to bust loose here soon.
It's been a pitcher's duel so far. Each pitcher, Greinke and Chacin, has thrown 1 6-pitch inning. For Chacin, it was the third. For Greinke, the bottom of the fourth. And Zach, so far, 4 scoreless innings. He's thrown only 43 pitches in the ball game. He's been tremendously efficient. Nick Ahmed leads off the Arizona fifth. Nick rounded out his first time up. Lay it on a fastball, and it's 0-2. Very high in the air, short left field. Cordoba coming in. And that's the first out in the 5th inning. I don't want to brag, but I'm up to 6 on Beat the Streak.
You're only 1 behind.
Oh, no.
I made a very bad strategic error today. I picked Mookie Betts. And in looking for my second player to double down, I kind of like Xander Bogaerts, so I texted my advanced scout, who's up in Toronto right now, and asked him if he liked Bogaerts against Francisco Liriano. Oh, yeah, X is swinging the bat well. So I had every intention of taking Bogaerts as my double down, and I didn't get it in time. Of course, he got a hit.
Well, the whole crew is hot. Brad the Big Dog Weimer and Brian Nomas, our producer and director, also at 6. But you're 1 ahead of the field right now. 0-2 on Mathis. So the pressure's on. You're leading.
And I moved way up on the leaderboard. I was in the 100,000th place somewhere till yesterday. Now I'm only in the 70,000th place.
Slow breaking ball, and Mathis strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Yolis Chacin. 2 down.
It's that slider. That's his bread and butter when he needs an out, when he's looking for a ground ball. I think that's the pitch he has the most confidence that he can either throw for a strike or lead a hitter out of a strike zone with that slider.
Chacin at 60 pitches, 42 strikes. Diamondbacks with 3 hits, Singles by Drury, Pollock, and Lamb. All in different innings. There's strike one to Zach Greinke, who flied out his first time up. A pitcher's duel at Petco. Padres have only 2 hits against Greinke. Chacin, a 2-out single in the 3rd. And Myers, that 1-out single in the 4th. 0-2 on Zach. Rockies and Dodgers in LA right now. That game's tied 1-1 in the 4th inning. 12 straight strikes thrown by Yolis Chacin. Make it 13. He's got 4 strikeouts. He set down 5 in a row. No score at Petco Park. Tonight, Bryce Harper of the Nationals in Atlanta, SunTrust Park. He had 4 hits. 2 of them were home runs. The second homer right there, a grand slam. And the Nationals beat up on the Braves 14 runs on 20 hits. Harper 4 for 4 with a pair of home runs. And he knocked in 5.
6th home run of the season already for Bryce Harper.
He's pretty good. Ryan Schimpf, the 3rd baseman, leads off the Padre 5th against Zach Greinke. Zach coming off a 6-pitch 4th inning. Here's the defensive alignment against Ryan Schimpf. 0 for 4 in the series so far, and he's down 0-2.
I will say Zach has been efficient is an understatement up to this point. He's had 4 strikeouts in the game. 3 of those came on 4 pitches. 4 outs on 3 or fewer pitches. And a lot of it's been with that slider. I mean, everything's working well. His command is good tonight, but that slider has been devastating.
Left field for the Herminator. 1 down. Ryan Schimpf 0 for 2. That'll bring up Hunter Renfroe. One thing that was the same in both Greinke's games in which he didn't win this year, the opener against the Giants and the loss in LA last week. And Torey Lovello pointed this out as well. Teams simply not swinging at some of his off-speed pitches and breaking pitches, just not chasing the ball like hitters have always done against Zach Greinke. Teams are waiting him out. Now, against a young, inexperienced lineup, I'm going to guess that's not going to be the case tonight.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, a couple hitters in this lineup that might give him some issues if he doesn't throw quality strikes, but for the most part, these are some aggressive, young, hacking players. And I said it earlier in the game, this is the kind of lineup Zach should really carve up with his combination of stuff and command that we've seen tonight.
Just like that. Slow breaking ball into Hunter Renfroe, and it's 0-2. 5 strikeouts for Greinke, 2 down in the 5th.
It's almost not fair. Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Austin Hedges, the catcher now. Well, Zach, talking about that loss at Dodger Stadium last Friday, thought the issue mainly was just good at bats by the LA hitters. And he thought, you know, they seemed to do that a lot against him, both last year and again this season. He doesn't think he's been off that much, but the Dodgers at bats last week he thought were just super quality at bats. And we will not see that from the Padre hitters tonight. Dodgers being an older, smarter team, they've seen a lot of good junk pitches.
And a lot of them played behind Zach Greinke for the last few years, so they were certainly aware of what he likes to do out there on the mound. And a big part of that is getting hitters to chase his pitch.
He relies on that at this point in his career. That he was saying, you know, he just wasn't able to trick the Dodger hitters as much as some other teams. Even their young guys, you know, like Corey Seager, who's a very advanced hitter, had really good at bats against him.
Where you hear that a lot is when major league pitchers go down to the minor leagues to make rehab outings coming back from an injury. You can't set those guys up. They're just hacking at everything they see. You know, they throw a 2-0 changeup and the guy swings at it and hits it in the gap. You're supposed to swing at that and miss.
Hedges drives this one to center. AJ makes a sliding grab. AJ Pollock in center, and Greinke has worked 5 scoreless in San Diego, giving up only 2 hits. Pollock in center, no score. D-backs and Padres. Padres as we start the 6th inning. The series and road trip finale here tomorrow night. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. A couple of lefties, Patrick Corbin against San Diego's Clayton Richard. Now Richard can be tough. He tossed 8 scoreless innings at Dodger Stadium in his first start this year. Gave up only 5 hits, but he's 1-2. So a matchup of lefties tomorrow night to wrap up this long 10-game road trip. Elise Jacine facing AJ Pollock as AJ leads off the 6th. Jacine has been throwing nearly nothing but strikes as of late. AJ has walked and singled. He's been aboard twice. In the first inning tonight, Elise Jacine threw 10 balls. In innings 2, 3, 4, and 5, he threw a total of 8 balls. So he has been in the strike zone pretty much all night long. And the Diamondbacks have only 3 hits, all singles. Of course, as soon as we say that, he's behind on Pollock 2-0.
Put the whammy right on him.
Sure did.
If only it were that easy.
There's a strike, and it's 2-1. Diamondbacks 11-2 winners last night. 11 runs, tied their season high. But so far just 3 hits, all singles. Drury in the second, Pollock in the third, and Lamb in the fourth. Three balls and 1 strike to A.J. Pollock. Roll to second for Yangervis Solarte. 1 down. That's 6 in a row set down by Chacin.
We mentioned this Padres rebuilding program here, and it has to be somewhat reassuring for Andy Green to have a guy like Chacin in the rotation, and Clayton Richard, and Jared Weaver, some veteran guys that you really don't have to worry about their preparation or their ability to go out there and compete. They've done it. They've been there before. He's got plenty of other things to worry about this year with a lot of the young players on this roster, but I'm sure it really helps Andy Green to have those veterans in his rotation.
David Peralta 0 for 2. Well, Chacin is now 29, parts of 8 seasons in the big leagues, mostly with the Rockies. And he was on the open market this winter. Padres told him, you know, look, you're going to get a good opportunity here to be in our rotation. Good opportunity to be one of the veteran guys and help the young guys, something San Diego has really emphasized with such a young ball club. He was just looking for a home.
And if you're a veteran pitcher that's looking to extend your career, get a few more paydays, this is a pretty good place to pitch.
Oh, yeah.
Thick, heavy marine air, big outfield.
Yeah, even now it's a kind of a chilly night here. Chacin was once the opening day starter for Colorado. Battled shoulder problems throughout his career there with the Rockies. Rotator cuff and labrum issues. Yeah, the Padres have put together really the biggest potluck rotation in the major leagues this year. Anyone may show up for this club over the course of the year and start a game. But Andy Green took the time this spring to say, look, Clayton Richard, Yolis Chacin, they're the only guys that were signed to pitch in the rotation this year. Everybody beyond them, it's open season, community auditions. Come on down. Rolled away from the shift, but right to Ibar, who bobbles it, recovers, and throws him out. Eric Ibar at shortstop, 2 down.
We got a very fortuitous bounce right there. That ball kind of climbed up the heel of his glove, but popped right up next to his throwing hand.
Torey Lovello saying, hold on, they're having a look.
I'll tell you, Will Myers, and I know he's not a natural first baseman. He's still learning the position, but he doesn't really stretch out there for throws very much. He was standing pretty much upright on the bag right there. Could have made it a much easier call.
He came up in the Royals organization as a catcher, Will Myers. At one point here, they thought he'd be their center fielder. And then last year he was moved over to first base. Here's Goldie, who's 0 for 2. Padres felt, as Will Myers has gone along here, that last year he was one of the closest first basemen playing to the base. And he's fairly well off the bag right now against the right-hand hitter. So they have really worked with him and emphasized getting off the bag a little more, which has made him a little uncomfortable, frankly. And he looks a little uncomfortable getting so far out there. But he said, you know, there's a nerve factor there, Bob, so it actually makes him a little more ready for the ball. But he is on edge being so far off the bag, he says.
Well, as a guy that played a little bit of first base, I know that feeling. You look into the bench and they keep moving you farther and farther off that first base line. I kept looking at the base thinking, I don't know if I can get there before the throw comes across the diamond. But with more playing time and more experience, you kind of get a little bit more comfortable with the idea of playing that far away from the base and still being able to get there to make the play.
Well, it's funny because the position was new for him, so he developed this habit of rushing right back to the bag immediately after the ball was hit to try and receive the throw. And they thought that was a little bit counterproductive as well. Because Myers was thinking, you know, I got to get there, but he wasn't necessarily reacting to the ball first. And he would create problems for himself sometimes. Goldie flails at the 3-2 pitch, and Yolis Chacin has worked 6 scoreless. He's retired 8 straight. D-backs fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, then stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Eric Ibar leads off the bottom of the 6th against Zach Greinke, who has been tremendously efficient tonight. 13 of the 15 outs so far have been on 4 or fewer pitches. He's had 4 innings tonight where he's thrown 11 pitches or fewer. How about an 11-pitch first, a 9-pitch second, a 6-pitch fourth, coming off a 10-pitch fifth?
As his A slider working tonight, 6 of the 15 outs he's recorded have come on that slider.
Ibar's a guy that's always actually hit Greinke pretty well. He's just about a .370 career hitter against Zach Greinke. Swing and a miss.
Don't think for a moment that Zach is not aware of those numbers.
Oh yeah, that's his 6th strikeout.
Bounces that slider in the dirt, still gets the swing from Ibar.
Well, the Padres have only 2 hits against Greinke, both singles, one of them by the pitcher Yolis Chacin. The 3-2 pitch into left field for a base hit in the 3rd. Well, so far, for the most part, Yolis Chacin has matched Greinke. Yeah, he's capable of doing that from time to time. He worked 6 2/3 scoreless innings against the Giants here just a week or so ago. There's a strike, and it's 0-2. Bounces one in the hole. Jake Lamb in front of Nick Ahmed, and he boots it. E5. Diamondbacks infield continues with the occasional defensive miscue.
I thought that might have hit right at the edge of the infield grass there, but I think Jake just misplayed it. Hit him in the heel of the glove, got between the legs and behind him. That'll go as an E5. Chacin on it first.
D-backs have turned one double play behind Zach Greinke tonight. That was following Myers' 1-out single in the 4th. Travis Jankowski's been up twice. He struck out twice. 0 for 2. Lamb in on the grass at 3rd.
In the air, shallow left. Ahmed drifting out there. 2 outs. Alan Cordoba now. Cordoba, like Jankowski, 2 at-bats, 2 strikeouts. Greinke has punched out 6 so far. 60 pitches for Zach, 45 for strikes. Saw Shelby Miller pitch into the 8th inning here last night. Bounce to shortstop, Ahmed. Another quick out for Zach Greinke. Through 6, no score. It's an 8-pitch Greinke 6th. No score. Our Gila River game summary. Elise Chacin has retired the last 8 Diamondbacks he's faced. He's given up only 3 hits, all singles. He's walked 1, struck out 5. Zach Greinke has given up just 2 hits, both singles. No walks, 6 strikeouts. So here we are as we start the 7th inning, 0-0. Jake Lamb, Brandon Drury, Chris Herman due up for the Diamondbacks. 4, 5, and 6 in the 7th inning against Elise Chacin. Jake has grounded out and singled. He's 1 for 2. Jake's had a really good road trip. He came into tonight hitting .375 on the road trip. 3 extra base hits, 7 RBIs. He's also walked 6 times on the trip. And there's the overshift against the left-hand hitting Lamb.
I'll say it again. I'm a little surprised Ibar playing right in at the edge of the grass as the lone defender on the left side of the infield. Jake Lamb is not likely to bunt for a base hit regardless of the shift.
Hits it hard, but right into the shift. Solarte with a tricky play in the outfield grass. 4-3 on the putout, 9 straight set down by Chacin. I think we saw the Dodgers have Corey Seager over there, but he was well over by the second base bag when they had their shift on against Lamb.
And a few steps behind the baseline. It looked to me like Ibar was playing in where he was to protect against a possible bunt for a base hit.
Brandon Drury has singled and struck out. There's strike 1. Elise Chacin pitched 5 games with the D-backs in the 2015 season and
Pitched pretty well, made 4 starts, went 2-1 with a 3.38 ERA. Andy Green was on the Diamondbacks coaching staff that year. He really loved the way Chacín was wired, the way he competed. Very, very professional, he said. Now they're together again in San Diego. Takes a close pitch and it's a ball. Brandon ahead 3-1. Chris Herman on deck. Chacín has walked only 1 tonight. That was A.J. Pollock to lead off the ball game. Popped up, foul ground near the Padre dugout. Will Myers calling for it.
Ooh.
Almost.
Oh. Bit of a snow cone there. A lot of white showing that time. Big first baseman's mitt. Ball rattles around. He squeezes it between his little finger and his thumb right there to hold it in the heel of the glove.
Now the shift goes on again for Chris Herman, who's 0 for 2. Herman, the starter in left field tonight. 3 for 19 to start the year. The other way for Cordoba in left field, coming on, and he makes a sliding grab. Another quick inning for Jhoulys Chacín, who has set down 11 straight Diamondbacks. We stretch in San Diego. Still scoreless. Padres. A fan Saturday, Fox Sports Arizona is taking over the D-backs ticket office during the game against the Dodgers. A one-night only ticket offer that will have an experience of a lifetime attached to it for a few lucky ticket buyers. So make sure you watch the game this Saturday starting at 4:30. Fox Sports Arizona takes over the D-backs ticket office. A once-in-a-lifetime experience attached to a few lucky ticket buyers during that broadcast. Will Myers leads off the 7th against Zach Greinke. Myers has one of just 2 hits for the Padres, a single in the 4th. The other one, a Jhoulys Chacín single in the 3rd. Over the mound, Nick Ahmed will charge. Got him. 1 down to start the 7th. Myers 1 for 3. Well, this is the game we thought we would have, perhaps. Friday at Dodger Stadium, Greinke Kershaw. Instead, it's been Greinke Chacin.
That's why we show up every day. You never know when you're going to see an outstanding pitching matchup like tonight. Both guys have been absolutely on top of their game.
Just 5 hits combined between the two teams so far. Yangervis Solarte 0 for 2.
I mentioned Tony Gwynn had a great shot at the statue. Tony Gwynn Jr. doing some radio for the Padres tonight with Jesse Agler right next door to us. It's always good to see a Gwynn at the ballpark.
Should always be one here, certainly in San Diego. I got to work with his dad. What a great gentleman. What a wonderful guy. One of the warmest people you would ever meet, Tony Gwynn. Just a genuine pleasure to be around.
Absolutely. And if you want to talk hitting, he'll sit and talk to you all night long.
Tony Gwynn is everywhere, justifiably so here in San Diego.
You know, I talk a lot about advanced scouting reports. I think every series in my professional career that we played the Padres, Tony Gwynn was the guy you didn't want to let beat you. Every series. Usually guys get hot and cold and hot and cold. Tony Gwynn was always hot.
And just think about that. It was like that every series he played, every year for his entire career.
Yeah.
And he still put up the numbers that he did. Amazing. Greinke's working hard here against Solarte. Full count 3-2. Zach has yet to walk a batter tonight. He struck out 6.
I think back to the beginning of Tony Gwynn's career, he was a little like Goldie in that they said, oh, he's a good offensive player, but he's a horrible defensive outfielder. And Tony Gwynn worked extremely hard to make himself a better than average outfielder.
Solarte able to lay off that one. And a 1-out base runner for the Padres. First walk of the ball game issued by Zach Greinke today. That'll bring up Ryan Schimpf, who leads the major leagues in walks. Ryan Schimpf, despite all the walks and the on-base percentage, which is over .350 this year, has just not hit yet. Had 20 home runs in half a season last year, but right now he is stuck in a 2 for 34 slump. Solarte at first, 1 out. There's a strike, 0-1.
We know one thing about Schimpf. He will take his walks. 15 already on the season. He's on pace for 152 walks.
Pace?
Pace.
Talk about pace.
Now this shows you that our crack staff has had way too much time on their hands.
Yes, as always.
The last major league player who was 5'9" or shorter to have more than 100 walks in a season was Sean Figgins back in '09 with the Angels. Now take it a step farther. The most walks in a season by a player 5'9" and under, 148 back in 1945 by Eddie Stanky.
Oh.
See what I mean about way too much time on their hands?
Yes. Well, Schimpf, because of all the home runs last year, has seen far fewer pitches in the strike zone. And to his credit, he's generally not been chasing them. But he admits he'd like to be squaring up a few more balls. The feet of Yangervis Solarte at first. Here's the 0-2 to Schimpf. Just upstairs. Mathis thought about a throw down there.
It's a little too quick coming up out of that crouch, ready to snap a throw down to first base, but just lost the handle on the ball as he came up out of his crouch.
Both Ahmed and Drury on the right side of the infield behind Greinke. Lamb, the third baseman, near the second base bag. Mathis will run through the signs again. 72 pitches, 52 strikes for Zach Greinke. Now they cannot figure this out. Torey Lovullo does not want to cultivate a personal catcher situation with his starting pitchers, but despite of what you're seeing here, he does admit that some patterns have developed already. And Jeff Mathis and Zach Greinke, for instance, Torre is seeing a certain comfort level between these two guys, and if it lines up in a way that he's comfortable with that day, he'll look at see how the catcher and pitcher are working together, and he'll go with that combination. And catcher offense for Torre is secondary beyond that, and Greinke and Mathis have been together, and it's been working. But Torre said today that Zach realizes it's not always going to be like that. It's not going to be like this all year long, but so far he really likes the way these two have worked together.
I think the reason most managers try to avoid that valet catcher situation is in the event of an injury. Now all of a sudden you've got a different catcher behind the plate than the guy is accustomed to, and that can create some issues. But I think it just naturally evolves over the course of the season. Certain pitchers are more comfortable with certain catchers. I know when I was with the Giants along with Bob Melvin, there were a couple pitchers on the staff that insisted they pitch to me, and there were a couple guys that preferred to throw to Mel. And you know, within the framework of who needs more playing time, who needs the at-bats, who are we playing, who's pitching for the other team, he tried to pretty much stick to that program.
In the air, shallow center, AJ coming in. 2 outs in the 7th. Well, they have the 3 catchers with Mathis and Iannetta and Herman. Tonight taking advantage of Chris Herman's versatility, starting in left field. But Torre is a great observer of his players. You know, he didn't know a lot about these guys when he got the job, and he's spent much of the spring just in observation mode, and he's picked up on a lot of things. Schimpf for 3. Here's Hunter Renfroe, who has flat out struck out. What did Schill and RJ like to do? Do they care? Do they go to you and say, hey, I like this guy, that guy?
Well, with RJ, it was kind of like his most recent masterpiece, and who was behind the plate for that game. I like that guy.
But there were a lot of those guys then. Nick Ahmed is there. Well, we're through 7. No score in San Diego. Fans, MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, you'll get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply, so visit MLB.TV for details. Trying to get something going against Yolis Chacin, who has set down now 11 straight Diamondbacks. Nick Ahmed leads off the 8th. Ahmed, Mathis, and Greinke 7, 8, 9 for the Diamondbacks, who are looking to win their 4th consecutive ball game and improve their record to start the year to 11-5. 90 pitches for Chacin. There's a fly ball to left field. Alan Cordova's there. 1 down in the 8th. Jeff Mathis 0 for 2. Brad Hand getting ready in the Padre bullpen. Isn't this our time? Brad Hand, the lefty. There's a strike to Mathis, 0-1. Jeff had that 3-hit game opening day at Chase Field against the Giants. Since then, he's 2 for 26 at the plate. 167 on the year. Jeff Mathis named to the Cedar Rapids Colonels Hall of Fame. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I know my Cedar Rapids history. Weren't you also a Cedar Rapids Hall of Famer?
The same year, Jeff Mathis and myself and Dave Miley, the former manager of the Cincinnati Reds, were all inducted into the Colonels Hall of Fame back in 2011.
That's Colonels, K-E-R-N-A-L-S. Is that correct?
No.
No.
K-E-R-N-E-L-S, like corn kernels. It is the Midwest, after all.
Ah, how wholesome. Mathis ahead, 3-1. Greinke on deck. Jeff Mathis broken bat. And a flare to Solarte. That's 13 in a row set down by Yolis Chacin. Now, what do you have to do to get named to the Cedar Rapids Hall of Fame? Show up?
Basically, you have to agree to go to the banquet in the middle of winter in Cedar Rapids.
Well, that's a prestigious honor then. Greinke 0 for 2. Well, you must have had a good year there.
I had a pretty good year in 1977. Hit 22 homers, playing third base every day. Yeah, the funny thing was, there were a couple of umpires there, Eric Cooper and Tim McClellan. And in my acceptance speech for being inducted into the Colonels Hall of Fame, I said, I'm glad to have representatives from the umpires here since both these guys have ejected me.
0-2.
But a great experience. Anybody that's ever spent any amount of time in the minor leagues, especially a full season at a minor league city, you know, the people in the community just embrace the ball players. We had farmers that would bring bags of sweet corn to the ballpark and fresh made sausage, and they took really, really good care of us. Playing in A ball, making $550 a month, getting $10 a day meal money.
That goes a long way in Cedar Rapids.
Ooh, I'll tell you, that sweet corn, that kept us alive.
I bet. Well, Yolis Chacin about to throw pitch number 100. He's given up just 3 hits, all singles, walked 1 and struck out 5. Last D-backs hit was Lamb's 1-out single in the 4th inning.
Yeah, especially at the lower levels of the minor league, in rookie ball and short season A ball, sometimes in Class A, they have host families.
Yeah, you stay there.
Yeah,
sure.
Members of the community volunteer and take players into their home and give them a warm bed and feed them some meals and send them off to the ballpark in exchange for a couple of tickets to a ball game.
Eric Ibar behind the bag. And Yolis Chacin has retired 14 consecutive Diamondbacks. No score in San Diego.
Somebody's
Our Cox high-speed highlights. 7 scoreless innings. He's given up only 2 hits. He's walked 1. He struck out 6. Zack Greinke tonight, 76 pitches. The fewest pitches he's thrown through 7 innings in his entire career.
Boy, just a model of efficiency tonight. Of the 21 outs he's recorded in this game, 18 of them have come on 4 or fewer pitches.
His previous low was 87 pitches through 7 innings. That was back when he was with the Kansas City Royals. The catcher Austin Hedges leads off the San Diego 8th.
He's recorded 5 outs in this game on 4 pitches, 4 outs on 3, 4 outs on 2, and 5 times he's retired a Padre hitter on 1 pitch.
Right field for David Peralta. Hedges 0 for 3, 1 down in the 8th. The shortstop Eric Ibar. Ibar has grounded out, struck out. He's 0 for 2. Padres bullpen is busy. Chacín's spot is up next, and Manuel Margot is in the on-deck circle. So that looks like it's the end of the night for Jhoulys Chacín, who retired the final 14 he faced. 8 scoreless innings, gave up only 3 hits, all singles. Brandon Maurer, the right-hander. Ibar can't check his swing, and it's 0-2. Greinke now 80 pitches, 58 strikes. Ibar, another Padre slumping badly. Second game of the season, he had 3 hits at Dodger Stadium. Since then, he's gone 2 for 34. Has not been an issue with Zack Greinke, so efficient, but the bullpen, Torey Lovello says, is fully loaded tonight. Everybody's good to go after Shelby Miller went so deep in last night's ball game. So Dave Magadan going over some charts in the Diamondback dugout.
Yeah, they were looking at some video down there, and just based on the hair on the Padres pitcher, I say they're looking at the closer, Brandon Maurer, who's warming up down in that bullpen.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Eric Ibar. Full count. Greinke's first walk came with 1 out in the 7th inning. He walked Solarte. There's all the gadgets and gizmos in the dugout.
And we pointed this out. Watch Zach after he delivers a pitch, how he shifts to his left. When he throws that big, slow curveball, he figures the only place a left-hander is going to hit it is to the right side of the infield. So he bounces off the mound to that side.
Ibar hits one deep right field, headed for the corner, and it's gone. Eric Ibar, his first of the year, and it's 1-0 Padres. Eric Ibar came in a .367 career hitter against Zack Greinke, and San Diego takes the lead.
Slider stayed right there on the inside part of the plate. I'm sure he wanted to get it in underneath the bat of Eric Ibar, but left it right there on the inside part of the plate. One of the rare mistakes in the ball game tonight for Greinke, and unfortunately Ibar made him pay.
That was on the 7th pitch of that at bat. It was Greinke's longest at bat of the ball game. Manuel Margot will hit for the pitcher Chacín, with a closer Maurer warming up in the Padre bullpen. Margot 0 for 4 in the leadoff spot last night, hitting .250 with 3 home runs.
Bounced over the mound. Drury behind the bag on the backhander. Tough play. No way to get the speedy Margot. And he's aboard with an infield single.
I would guess that'll get the Diamondbacks bullpen going out there. Zach Greinke has just been so good tonight. He gave up that solo home run. Now a ground ball base hit up the middle. Sometimes almost like a no-hitter. When a guy's cruising along and all of a sudden gives up that first knock, it seems like it collapses rather quickly. Hopefully that won't be the case here tonight.
It's been in these situations where Torey Lovullo has purposely kept the bullpen quiet as a symbolic vote of confidence for a starting pitcher out there. Here's Travis Jankowski. Greinke still not yet at 90 pitches. Diamondbacks in the 9th inning will have the top of the order due up. Pollock, Peralta, Goldie 1, 2, and 3. Jankowski 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. Jake Lamon on the grass at third. Margot off with the first move, and they got him hung up. And Nick Ahmed chases him down for the second out.
Just good awareness by Zach Greinke. Saw the runner break. Could have stepped off the rubber and initiated the run down himself, but he chose to fire it to Paul Goldschmidt, and Nick Ahmed came streaking in from his shortstop position on a dead run, made it a very easy run down.
Margot was off of the pitch. That goes down as a caught stealing attempt. Base is empty. 2 down for Jankowski. Two and 1. .90 pitches, 62 strikes for Zach Greinke. Full count, 3-2. Alan Cordoba, the Rule 5 pick, is on deck. Dodgers lead the Rockies in LA 4-2. They're in the 6th inning. Brandon Maurer, the closer, will get the 9th against the top of the Diamondback order. Giants lost 2-0 tonight at Kansas City. Jankowski hits it hard and through the infield, a base hit. That's 3 consecutive hits against Greinke. Mike Butcher and Torey Lovullo.
Jankowski really goes down to get that one and bang it into center field. Pitch on the outer third of the plate, working its way away from the left-handed hitting Jankowski, but stayed on it and found that hole up the middle.
Mike Butcher on the bullpen phone. Alan Cordoba steps up. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Bullpen will get busy for the D-backs. This is the guy you want to get here with Will Myers on deck.
Saw Margot take off earlier. Jankowski can really run well. He had 30 stolen bases last year. The left-hander Andrew Chafin starts warming up. Strike one.
Andy Green and the Padres haven't run a lot this year, probably because they haven't been getting on base that often, but Travis Jankowski with 2 stolen bases leads the team right now.
Well, it would be a real shame if it ended 1-0 for Zach Greinke the way he's pitched tonight. Cordoba bunts it. Mathis is on it. Makes a nice play and throws him out. But Ibar's homer makes it 1-0 as we head to the 9th. Field, Travis Jankowski moves over to left field, replacing Alan Cordoba. And with a 1-0 lead in the 9th, here's the Padre closer. It's the right-hander Brandon Maurer, his 6th appearance of the year, the ERA just under 6. His 2nd season with San Diego. Last year, 71 appearances, 13 saves.
Yeah, your basic fastball slider pitcher, the Eric Ibar home run, the only run in this ball game.
Well, the Padres pitching tonight after 8 scoreless innings by Jhoulys Chacín, only 3 past the minimum. A.J. Pollock will lead it off. He has walked, singled, and grounded out 1 for 2. Chacín retired the final 14 he faced. Now here's the Padre closer with a 1-0 lead, and there's strike one.
Big fastball from Maurer, mid to upper 90s, throws a hard slider to go along with it. That's it. 2-pitch guy.
Zach Greinke goes 8 innings, gives up just 1 run on 5 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 6. Torey Lovullo asks his starting pitchers, go out there with the idea that we're going to ask you to get 21 outs. Well, Greinke tonight got 24. But the D-backs in danger of being shut out for the first time this year. Pollock gets it started, a base hit to right. AJ aboard for the 3rd time tonight.
And a guy throwing as hard as Brandon Maurer, you don't have to take a perfect swing to make solid contact. Just kind of a jab at the ball that time, but caught it on the barrel and shoots a line drive into right field for a leadoff knock.
Just what you're looking for. David Peralta now 0 for 3. 3 Padre infielders on the right side. Ibar, the shortstop, near the third base bag, in on the grass. AJ holds. David swings through that one. It's 0-1. There's been only one 1-0 game in the major league so far this year. That was only 3 days ago. The Angels at Kansas City. Royals won that one 1-0. AJ holds again, and again David swings at that one. It's 0-2. Myers holding Pollock on the bag at first. Ibar now over near the second base bag, and Peralta strikes out. 1 down in the 9th.
Mentioned he's a 2-pitch guy. The fastball in the mid to upper 90s and a bottom out slider right there to David Peralta to get the swinging strike.
Paul Goldschmidt 0 for 3. Goldie having a quiet road trip, 4 for 28 on the trip with 1 RBI. Trying to get Greinke off the hook. Ball 1. Padre outfielders all deep with their backs up against the warning track, especially Jankowski in left. Margot, the center fielder, shaded over toward right center field.
This is that no doubles defense in the outfield for the Padres. The idea being if you play deep enough, you should be able to cut off anything and keep A.J. Pollock from scoring from first base. If the ball gets into the gap or down the lines with A.J. speed, there's a pretty good chance he will score.
Saw Goldie jump on that fastball for Maurer. It's 1-1. A.J. 2 stolen bases this year. He's been caught twice. And a stolen base in the ball game last night.
Mauer's not particularly quick to home plate. I've had him at 1.45, 1.5 on his deliveries to David Peralta.
League average is 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, 1-3 is kind of the dividing line. Anything above that, you feel like a good base stealer should be able to get a jump and steal a base. Anything below 1-3, it's going to be tough. But I'll tell you, the equalizer is the guy behind the plate. Austin Hedges has shown a real strong throwing arm from behind the plate.
Jorge De La Rosa, the left-hander. Fernando Rodney, the right-hander. AJ takes off for second. Here's the throw from Hedges, and it's not in time. Pollock is in there with his 3rd stolen base, and he's the tying run.
Now that one's on Maurer on the mound. There's nothing more Austin Hedges could do right here. He unloads the throw quickly. AJ just got a great jump over there at first base on the pitcher.
Pitch was a ball. It's 3-1 to Goldie. In there for a strike. The count is full 3-2. Jake Lamb on deck. Chop foul.
How would you like to have been the baseball coach at Orange Lutheran High School back in 2008?
Sure, why not? 7th pitch of the at-bat here.
You'd had this guy and Garrett Cole on your pitching staff.
Bounce to third for Ryan Schimpf. AJ takes off for third base. They get Goldie at first. And the tying run is 90 feet away with 2 outs in the ninth.
It was a battle that time, as you expect when Paul Goldschmidt's at the plate with the game on the line. First pitch slider, called a ball, dropped down there around knee level, had a good rip at a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, a rare changeup, and then the slider in the dirt on the steal attempt. Drops the slider in there at the bottom of the zone. Another 97-mile-an-hour heater, and then eventually a rollover topspin grounder to Schimpf, who tried to throw it away at first base, but Myers able to hang on.
The Padres have never had a 1-0 shutout of the Diamondbacks at Petco Park. Jake Lamb. Ball 1. Trying to get AJ home from third with 2 outs. Lamb singled in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. No shift from the Padres.
I think that's a velocity decision on the part of Andy Green. Mauer throws so hard with that fastball, they don't figure that Jake Lamb's going to automatically pull it into right field.
Ibar, the shortstop, all smiles. His home run off Greinke, that 1-0 lead. Lamb, that's a foul ball. He just missed it.
Oh. Boy, that would have been some serious action. Once again, Hunter Renfroe playing way off that right field line. That would have been at least 2 for Jake Lamb had it been fair.
They're on their feet in San Diego. Jake's next hit against Brandon Mauer will be his first. Pollock, the tying run at third. 2 outs, a ball, and 2 strikes. Two and 2. That one missed at 98. Brandon Drury would be next. Lamb 7 RBIs on this road trip. 14 RBIs on the season, second most in the National League. Full count, 3 and 2. Back-to-back 3-2 counts now for Brandon Mauer. Got him. Hedges completes the strikeout, and the Padres win a 1-0 ball game on Eric Ibar's 8th inning home run against Zach Greinke, who for just the 3rd time in his career loses 1-0 after throwing a complete game.
That's really unfortunate. Zach Greinke, by far his best outing of the season. Hopefully just a stepping stone for more outstanding outings moving forward. But the offense just couldn't get anything going against Jhoulys Chacín tonight.
Chacín was tremendous. 8 scoreless innings. He retired the final 14 batters he faced. A pitcher's duel, a 1-0 game that goes 2 hours and 13 minutes. And the Padres even this series in a game apiece. 1-0 your final. Back with more after this.